Good evening, folks. It's Glenn the Ball Chef, and I'm back to cooking. And this evening I'm going to show you folks how to put together a real Cantonese Chinese dish called Moo Goo Gai pan. And in Cantonese, Moo Goo means mushroom, Gai is chicken, and pan means to slice the chicken. So it's basically a Cantonese dish that features sliced chicken that's stir-fried with mushrooms. Now, a lot of people add other vegetables to it. I'm going to show you my rendition, which I believe is very similar to what you would actually eat in China. It features a white sauce. There's really no soy sauce used in it. But let me show you how we put this Moo Goo Gai pan Cantonese recipe together. This is a time-tested method to do any chicken stir-fry dish. I've taken 3 medium-sized chicken breasts and I've sliced them up thinly, and to that I'm going to add 1 egg white. To that I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of cornstarch and just a little bit of some cooking wine, and this is rice wine that we'll use. And what I do with this is I just basically marinate the chicken in this. We'll just use our hands here, stir this around, and I'm going to let this just marinate in the cornstarch, the rice wine vinegar, and the egg white for about a half an hour. And it's amazing what this does to the chicken. And if you go to a Chinese restaurant, you've noticed how tender their chicken always is. This is the technique they use to get the chicken prepared to taste that way. So let's let this set aside and leave it at room temperature, so when you put it into that hot wok it doesn't get too greasy. So as I do that, I'm going to get the rest of this prepared, and I'll come back and we'll show you how the rest of this Moo Goo Gai pan is put together. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to blanch our vegetables. We're going to put some mushrooms in to this boiling water. We'll let these go first. I want to cook these a little bit longer than the snow peas. And in the Chinese cooking, the technique is you really don't want any of your vegetables overcooked, and you certainly don't want to overcook the chicken because it's going to make it very tough. So what we do is we always steam our vegetables first in water. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let these mushrooms go here for a minute, and then I'm going to add to our Moo Goo Gai pan recipe about 10 ounces of snow peas, and we're going to let these snow peas get right into the boiling water here, and we're just going to simply blanch these for just maybe a minute is all. And when this comes back up to a boil, I'll take my spider and I'll remove the vegetables from the boiling water. Alright, vegetables are steamed off nicely. We'll remove these with the spider. I'll remove the water from the wok, and we'll put some cooking oil in there and take this Moo Goo Gai pan recipe to the next level. Alright, I've got my 1 cup of just peanut oil on high heat. I'm going to put my chicken right into that boiling oil. We're going to stir this around a little bit so that it doesn't stick. It'll cook pretty quick. I want to completely cook the chicken. I'd say get it about 90% there. It'll probably just take a minute or so. I'm going to let this go about a minute, and then I'm going to spider this out, and I'll show you the next step. Alright, we got the wok back up to high. Put in about a tablespoon of cooking oil. And I'm going to hit this with about a half of a tablespoon of just some sesame oil. Into that, what I will do is I'm going to flavor this oil up with some garlic. And I'll at this point return my chicken back to the wok. We'll just pick it up. As you will see here, I'm going to use no soy sauce. We're just going to season this with some sea salt, about a tablespoon or so. And as that cooks, what I'm going to do is take just some chicken broth and add to that about a tablespoon of cornstarch and mix that up thoroughly. That's going to make our broth. Set that aside. I'm going to just hit this with a smidge more of the rice cooking wine and give this a stir. Now at this point we can return our blanched vegetables to our Moo Goo Gai pan. And our final step here is to add the chicken broth and the cornstarch. We'll bring this back up to a boil. And this will make our sauce. Thicken this up a little bit. Just served nicely over rice. And as this comes back up to a boil, that cornstarch and chicken broth will make a pretty fine little gravy for you. Last thing we need to do is just to plate this little guy up, take a look at it, and see what we've created here, folks. It's Glenn the Ball Chef with his Cantonese rendition of Moo Goo Gai pan. Let's give this chicken a taste here. Tender, flavorful, everything you can dream in a Cantonese dish. Thanks for watching, and as always, bon appetit.